Hello, Vibrant Life Center folks. We are going to be talking about heartburn today. What's heartburn got to do with chiropractic? Not too much, other than it's caused by acid on your esophagus. And then you have to ask the question, why is acid on your esophagus? It's pretty amazing the way you're built, by the way. If you think about it, you have acid in your stomach that will burn a hole in this chair. It will burn a hole through the table. If you put it on your skin, it will burn a hole through your skin. Well, how is it in your stomach and not burning a hole through your stomach? Well, that's because you also have specialized cells in your stomach and in your small intestine that make mucus. And so this mucus lines the whole lining of the inside of your stomach. And so that all the contents of that are really isolated from your cells. And so you can have this acid pH of like 2. I mean, it's like battery acid. And you think about it, it's gotta be because you eat a steak. You eat a piece. I mean, if you put a piece of steak in a cup of vinegar, it'd be weeks before that's broken down. Vinegar is, I don't know what the pH of that is, 4 or 5 or something like that. But this acid in your stomach, very serious. Between the acid of pH 2 to 3, it's like 1,000 times more than vinegar. And the enzymes, proteolytic enzymes, you can break that down and break that steak down and absorb it in the next 12 hours in your body. It's pretty amazing. However, here's where it gets goofed up. That acid is kept in your stomach by a valve, a sphincter valve that does this. When the nerve signal comes from your spine, nerves come out here to this valve, and when it contracts, it's a muscle. It's just like your bicep. You contract your muscle because the brain sends a signal down, out through your neck, tells the bicep to contract, right? Look at the guns, look at the guns. It is. Same thing happens here with the sphincter muscle. When the signal comes, it contracts, and it stops the acid in the stomach from being able to come up through back onto the esophagus, where you don't have these goblet cells that produce the mucus to protect your esophagus. So you feel it here. It literally burns. It eats away the esophagus. It's hard. It hurts. And so then we think, oh, what do? We go get Tums, we get Rolaids, because that will buffer the acid. It makes it less acidic, if you will, so it doesn't hurt as badly. But it doesn't do anything to stop the stomach contents from coming up onto the esophagus. What we need to do is get that valve to start closing again, to start tightening patently again. And so what runs that? The nerve runs it. We already shared that. That nerve comes out between the 5th and 6th thoracic, which is right between your shoulder blades. If you have like this going on there, you got a kink in your spine right there, hitting that nerve. Well, that nerve can't conduct the information to that valve very well, so that valve will not close all the way. Now, if that goes on for a long time and acid goes through that valve up on the esophagus, it actually damages the top side of the valve, turns to scar tissue. That's called pyloric stenosis, because it's called the pyloric valve, right? So it's called pyloric stenosis, which is a fancy word for turn to stone. Stenosis means turn to bone or stone. That's because acid has been up here where it hasn't been protected. Your body puts down scar tissue. That scar tissue is no longer contractile, so when the signal comes, it can't really close it off very well. It leaves it kind of open a little bit. Bummer about that is that can't be fixed by turning the nerve back on. If you correct the spine, fix the nerve so that the signal goes to the valve still can't do what the valve is supposed to do anymore because it's been damaged for so long. So that's one of the reasons why, getting a checkup to make sure all your nerves are working right, make sure everything is working right. People get heartburn, don't go, hey man, I got a pinched nerve, I got to go find the chiropractor. They don't. They take Tums, they take Rolaids. When that doesn't work, then you go get your omeprazole. Now you can buy that stuff over the counter, and then there's Acefix. There's a whole class of these drugs. Proton pump inhibitors is the main class of these drugs that stop your acid production. But if you think about it, that's not how you were designed either. You need the acid production to break down your food. You need your acid to actually absorb calcium. Magnesium, metals require acid to be absorbed. And you know this. You know that you take calcium with orange juice and it's better absorbed. That's because it's more acidic. So if you're doing that, you are now causing a secondary malnourishment problem. You're going to be short of calcium, among other things. B12 is another thing. So the idea is keep the thing working right. So get your nervous system checked. Make sure your body's working right. Make sure that valve is holding tight. If you're taking Tums, if you're taking Rolaids and things like that, we'll come in and get checked. Make sure that part is working right before it destroys the top of the valve and it can't get working right. So that's the tip for today. Do that. That's how it works. So glad to talk to you. This is Dr. Barrett, Environment Life Center. Thanks for watching. We'll come back with another one soon.